Hey guys, it is Miss Cram, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the meaning of a point, right? So we see these points all over the place. We're getting into graphing, and a lot of you have familiarity with what they are. So this is a little bit of a refresher, and then you might hear some new vocabulary or see something new. So let's get started. All right. So points, right? They are made out of an X and a Y. All right. So, and mathematicians just thought, hey, what do I want to call them? Oh, I would like to call them X and Y, right? So they just chose that and that became a standard for all of the points, right? So we would call the 3 in here the X term. And if I look at my X axis, I'm going over 1, 2, 3, and that lines up with the point. And then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that going up or down is really telling me my Y value. Okay. So these two numbers tell me how much I go right or left on my X axis, and then how much I go up or down. So the first number, right and left, the second number, how high up or how far down. Okay, so that is pretty much review. And let's go to the next slide real quick. Okay, so how many ways can you see a point, right? There's one way that we were just talking about that is pretty easy. Oh, let me finish erasing this. Okay, where the points are just given to you, right? So the point is here. I look, okay, this point, so if this is like 22 and a half, this might be like 21, right? So I could say, okay, the X value is 21. And then I go up. Remember that second number is how much you either go up or down. I go up to 7, and what is this going up by? 7.1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I go up 7.1, 7.2 lines up with this point I've randomly chosen on this graph, right? Okay, so all of the points, the X, Y values, I can physically, sorry, that's a little messy, it's 21, comma 7.2. I can physically see all of these points, right? I can also interpret them as a parentheses, X value, Y value. Okay. All right. I can also tell you in this, the X's are the age. So this is saying at 21 years old, right? This is an age, right? Because it's the X value, and that's what the X's mean. I have, what is this? 7.2 hours of sleep. Okay. So that is a data point for this specific story talking about age and sleep. Okay. So now there's other ways that we can get to that point, right? And when I look at a table, when I look at this function b, right, I have x and then g of x. So just a reminder that anytime you see this function notation, right, with like a variable and then parentheses and another variable inside, that is function notation, and it's really the same as the y value. So the g of x value here would be the same as the same placement on a graph as the y value. All right, so this 0, 4, the point would be 0, comma 4. Okay, and I would do that with all of them. 1, comma negative 1, 2, comma negative 4. Just remember to always put the parentheses on either side. That's a very specific notation. And as you're going through Algebra 1, you're really working to see, okay, not only do you understand the concepts, but you also need to understand the notation of it. Okay, here, I don't know what the 0 or the 4 mean, because it just gave me a table. It didn't give me a story, kind of like it did here, where I knew that X's were the ages and the Y's were the number of sleep per day. Okay. Oh, and just a note that when you see this little break, you probably see it more in like science graphs, but you do see it in algebra graphs too. And that just means that there's, when it goes here, it's like 10, 15, 20. So it's kind of just saying, hey, there's not the same distance from 0 to 10 as I then did, every 5 after that, right? So that little break just means, hey, don't really expect this chunk to really fit in with the spacing of the rest of the data. Okay. All right. And then function C, we have this. The X values are here. They all point to the same Y value, which is a function. The Y values can repeat, just no X repeats. So here, if I wanted to write a point, I see X is 3, Y is 5. One of my points here would be 3, comma 5. Okay. Another point would be 4, 5, 9, 5, 12, 5, 13.55, right? But all in that same parentheses. Okay, so that is just like a noticing of, hey, there's a lot of different ways that I can see these points and write them, right? And you should, throughout this course, be learning how to go from a graph to putting them in a table to then putting them in, we actually don't use this as much. You'll see it maybe once in a while, but this is more like a middle school transition to high school, right? Okay, so let's erase this and we just have one more slide to get to. So hope you guys are doing well at home. Hope you guys are watching this the day of. I know in my classes, we really talked about trying to get your work done the day that it is assigned so that it doesn't build up on you, right? Okay, so here we have a story, right? And this story is about a swim team, right? And a chorus. So this is actually student work, right? And they graph the story, they label their graph, right? It looks really good. So our question is, what is the story and how does it connect with each linear function? Okay, so when we're talking about a swim team, and I actually have to move myself if I can, okay, maybe not. So I actually can't really see all of the story, but it is with a swim team that starts with, I think, 5 members. So that's at the y-intercept. So at 0, when it's starting, 5 members. And then it increases 35 members, I don't know, a year. I can't see that part. So you guys will have to read it and, fill in the missing parts that I'm missing here. All right. So let's go to actually the second question. What is the point where the 2 lines intersect? All right, so I've got 2 lines, they intersect right here. And if I'm being asked for the point, I really want you to state, okay, in parentheses, not just like, oh, willy-nilly numbers everywhere, right? But in parentheses, 6, comma 65. All right, so now this last one, I'm gonna get my highlighter out. What does the point where the lines intersect, what does it mean in the context of the story? Look out for that word, right? When they want to know the context of the story, they don't want just 6 and 65. They want to know, hey, what does this 6 mean in the story about Central High School, right? And so 6 is, hopefully you remember, the X value. And so I look, the X value is, let's see if I can move, no. Okay, so I think that this says years since 2010, I'm assuming. So I can't really see that because it's behind all of the lovely stuff that allows me to make this video. All right, so I think that says years since 2010, right? So this would be 6 years past 2010, right? Both the swim team and the chorus had And now what does the Y mean, right? What does this 65 mean? I look at the Y axis, 65 people on the team, right? So 6 years after 2010, the chorus and the swim team both had 65 members on their teams. Okay. All right, so that is it. Please do your Desmos. Make sure that you're keeping up with all of your work, like I said before, and I will see you later. Bye.